Good morning, everyone. I'm going to just start with a sip. So I'm Genzen Ed Cadman from Sonoma Mountain Zen Center, Genjoji, Seattle Soto Zen, born and raised in Wenatchee, Washington. I'd just like to introduce myself, my Zen history. 1992, I felt the need to have some meditation training, and I went to an event, knocked on the door and went in. I didn't realize it was Zen, but it was. It was a Rinzai group in Seattle. That was the first time that I met Genki Takabayashi, who became my first Zen teacher. And sitting there, kind of an introduction. He didn't say a word the whole time. He was just over in the corner in Zazen until one moment, his cat came down the stairs and meowed, and he got right up from Zazen and took his cat and put it out the door, came back and sat down. That was my introduction to spontaneous compassion, and my first great teacher. Another date is 2006, February, my first visit to Genjoji, where I had my first on with Kwong-roshi, and then kept practicing here year after year, once or twice a year, coming down from Seattle. And then in February of 2019, I was asked to be Shuso. And then in February 1st of 2020, I received ordination from Kwong-roshi. But something else happened in October of 2019. I went and had a huge Dharma adventure. While I was practicing after Shuso, I had some results from various tests that I had a cancerous tumor in my colon. And I remember the doctor who discovered that in the colonoscopy actually held my hand and said, "I've got some rough news for you." So, of course, I was wanting to share this with my teachers, and I wrote to everyone I could think of, and I received this response back from Hojo-san Yose. And I just want to read, I made a copy of his 4-sentence email. What Hojo-san sent me, my surgery was probably the last weekend of October, and he sent this to me probably the week before. Kanzeon towers over this time. Always remember that there is no comparison to her, and she reaches everywhere beyond what we can conceive. We dedicated this morning's service to you and your current condition. Whatever it may be, each moment you are renewed, pure, and immaculate. So I'm going to put my reading glasses on. I was so grateful to receive that message. I had really not thought about Kanzeon being a part of my life until that circumstance. And Kanzeon an image or a statue or a painting, um, illustration of a figure, usually a feminine figure, who represents compassion. Kanzeon towers over this time. And I was pretty scared. And to have this message from my teacher that there was a towering force, a towering energy, the energy of compassion, really helped me to be ready for the surgery. And he said, we dedicated this morning service to you and your current condition. And don't we all have current conditions right now? Sickness, old age, facing death. This morning I sat beneath our very own Kanzeon, our tremendous statue here in the Zen Hall, carved from wood with a rich history. And yet, do you feel the same way I do? Its presence here in the Zen Hall offers a power, a towering power. It does to me. So Nyose was reminding me that the whole process is one of compassion. Always remember there's no comparison to her size. No comparison. Did I see my challenge then? Well, I began to relax. I began to see every part of the lead up to surgery as part of the process. My sister came over from Wenatchee, where she still lived, sat with me while I had an MRI. My sister was Kanzeon. And the technician who performed the MRI, I was sitting there, oh, she's Kanzeon. Oh, and the MRI machine is Kanzeon. On the day of the surgery, I practiced with seeing everyone I met as Kanzeon. And I remembered each person's name, person by person, as I met them or tried to write them down or scroll their name into my phone notes. I remembered their faces and how they helped me, from the person who logged me in at the hospital upon arrival to the surgical staff and the recovery nurses, and to that last person who pushed me out in a wheelchair to meet my ride back home. And I kind of made my own chant with their names. Sandy, Andrew K, Peachy Remy, Tina S, Dr. Fan, Dr. Hendrickson, Tatiana, Sean, Infinity, Tutu, Irish, Julie, Mira. And Yose's message to me was a gift to my imagination as well. An image, a poetic metaphor, grew to be strong enough that this image helped me in my worries and actually turned the event into a Dharma activity, as my teacher, Genki, would say, Dharma activity. Whatever it may be, each moment you are renewed, pure and immaculate. What helped me to accept this poetic, metaphoric image in the face of my death challenge was just like all of you. I had by then spent hours, days, and years training in Zazen, just as we have all trained this morning, sitting quietly, We sat together, we breathed together, we listened to the chickens. Or at home, we sat alone or with our family facing the wall of the living room or bedroom, watching our thoughts coming and going, not grasping, not clinging, not letting us get worried. Or if we were worried, we recognized that. We watched the sensations in our bodies come and go. We experienced, as Kwong-roshi has often said this, the active participation in loss, especially the loss of letting go of seeing ourselves disturbed, allowing our minds to be blown away by a storm of worries. Whatever it may be, each moment you are renewed, pure and immaculate. I was pure and immaculate? Nyose, you got the right guy? What did Nyose mean, pure and immaculate? Well, what I know about pure, I learned the word pure, I learned here in a very wonderful fashion by repeating our meal verses day after day after day, morning and lunchtime. And I refer to the chant which we all recite together, a chant which teaches us, well, it soothes us and prepares us and rewards us. Remember this line, we said it today, many of us said it this morning. Now I open Buddha Tathagata's eating bowls. May we be relieved from self-clinging with all sentient beings. And later in the chant, as we desire the natural purity of mind, there's that word pure. As we desire the natural purity of mind to be free from clinging, we must be free from greed. Greed, self-clinging. This is what we practice to observe and overcome. And that's what Nyose meant to me, I think, when he said, I was pure and immaculate. I was not isolated and fretful. Purity is a release from self-clinging. And this morning, as we looked at our food waiting to be eaten, we remembered the 72 laborers who brought us the food. We touch in our memories the infinite process which brought the food to our bowls in front of us, and thus we eat this food with everyone. As Hojo-san told me in his email, Kanzeon reaches everywhere beyond what we can conceive, beyond what this Genzen Ed from Wenatchee can conceive. And I have a friend, Michael, dies on lions. He said, it's way beyond my pea brain. Nyose was reminding us so much. To me, he was placing me in the care of Kanzeon, in the care of emptiness, in interrelatedness, in inner being, and zazen. So I love poetry, its metaphoric language, and its effect on my body and mind when I recite and chant and remember a poem or a song. And to me, the phrase Kanzeon towers over this time. It's a combination of words connected one after the other, just sounds, but they become strong and actually help me meet many moments of the day that I experience. So I'm going to pause for another sip. This morning here we chanted the praise of, in praise of Kanzeon, praise of Avalokiteshvara, the chant of boundless compassion. The Kanzeon Sutra for prolonging life is also a deep inspiration to me, and it's also in our Genjoji chant book on page 18. But I heard from Hojo-san that's rarely actually chanted in daily services here. But we chanted in Seattle once a month, because on the first day of that month, or the first Sunday of the month, we have a ceremony where we read names of people we'd like remembered by Kanzeon, either people who are in need or suffering or people who've recently passed away. And our version of the Kanzeon, the Kanzeon Sutra for prolonging life, it's different translations abound. It reads like this: Kanzeon Sutra for prolonging life. Kanzeon, at one with Buddha, related to all Buddhas in cause and effect, and to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Joyful, pure, eternal being. Morning mind is Kanzeon. Evening mind is Kanzeon. This very moment arises from mind. This very moment, not separate from mind. Joyful, pure, eternal being. So Hojo-san was linking me with that energy. Be joyful, even though you're having cancer surgery. Be joyful in your training. Be joyful in your connection to Sangha and Dharma. Remember, you're a pure being, not tied up with self-clinging, and eternal. The chant itself is called Kanzeon Sutra for prolonging life. How can a sutra prolong life? Well, it can help us understand that our life is eternal. That's how I answer that question. I don't know if that's correct, but the chant is more poetry of Dharma to remind me that we are Buddha and related to Buddha by cause and effect, not by some mysterious magical spell, but by how we live, by the causes that we meet and the way that we meet them. And then the wonderful phrase, morning mind is Kanzeon. Now, that makes me have a big smile every time I see it, or every time I chant it. And it's become, even though it's like 4 words, it's become part of my practice to chant that. Morning mind is Kanzeon. It's become a training slogan for me. And when I find myself thinking in words or outcomes, when I catch myself worrying or noticing my poor me thinking, I practice with morning mind is Kanzeon. And already today, I found myself anxious. I found myself hungry. I found myself in pain. I found myself worrying. I found myself singing a song. I found myself taking a photograph of mist through the lilacs. All these, I remembered as soon as I could. Oh, morning mind is Kanzeon. And that's that slogan just helped me dissolve my consternation. I came here on Thursday, day before yesterday, and I had to take an Uber, a light rail, a airport trolley, and then I had to check in for wheelchair assistance, and 4 people helped me with wheelchair assistance. And then I got to the gate, and my name was called, and sir, would you like wheelchair all the way to the door of the plane? Well, this is Horizon, and they have these switchbacks that the poor pusher has to take good old me up. So I said, I think I can walk up the switchback. But that was compassion that I met. The Uber driver, it even says now, do you want to be able to talk to the driver, or you just want to be quiet? I don't, but if you travel a lot or you drive a lot, how often do you experience worries? I mean, it's part of the game. And how often do you find yourself like shouting at somebody else who's coming by? You're going too fast, mister. That urge, I like to practice with morning mindness Kanzeon. So, so that's travel on Thursday. Was not like having life or death colon surgery, but still, 6 people came to my aid, and that was my current condition. The Canon Sutra for Prolonging Life also has a Japanese or Sino-Japanese translation, which has been given to us. It's very short, and after you do it a few times, you can remember it. I'll just chant this now. It's called the Enmei-juku Kannon-gyo. Kanzeon, Namu, Butsu, Yo, Butsu, En, Yo, Butsu, En, Bupo, Soen, Jo, Rakugajo, Chonen, Kanzeon, Bonen, Kanzeon, Nennen, Jushinki, Nennen, Furishin. And at Seattle Soto Zen, when we're about to list the names of people we want remembered, we chant it 7 times. So I've also used this chant in my day-to-day experience when I have more of a time to just sink into a certain situation. I used it this morning as I was walking after Zazen down to the meal. Kanzeon, Namu, Butsu. The mist was coming down, and I had to wear my special outdoor shoes. My cane I was going slowly, and just that recognition brought up that chant. And as we chant it, usually starts out slow and solemn, and then by the 5th time, it starts to pick up energy. And the 6th time, whoa. And the 7th time, Kanzeon, Namu, Butsu, Yo, Butsu, and it really kind of builds up and offers this shouts of compassion to the people who are sick, or to the families who are grieving. And just 2 weeks ago, I was invited to travel to Montana from Seattle and part of the trip was to visit the grave of my first Zen teacher, Genki Takabayashi, which is in Victor, Montana. It's in the Victor Cemetery. Victor's a very small little burg on the way to the big city of Hamilton. And he and his wife are buried side by side, and noted that he's a prominent Zen teacher of this area. He died in 2013. And I stood by his grave. I wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Roshi. And what I found myself doing was Kanzeon Namu Butsu Yo Butsu and Yo Butsu and Bupo So and Jo Rakugajo Chonen Kanzeon Bonen Kanzeon Nenen Jushin Ki Nenen Furishin. 6 more times. And yeah, so I want to show you a treat. I brought a show and tell. So I live in Seattle, in the neighborhood of the Seattle Asian Art Museum. And they have wonderful collection of Buddha statues and bodhisattvas, and they have a room where you can go and can hear different chanting and look up at an illuminated Buddha. It's not like being in our Zen hall here and being with our wonderful Avalokiteshvara Kanon. But they have this marvelous statue. It's only about this high. And I'll show you. Here's a close-up. So it's another statue of Kanzeon. This statue fulfills a different purpose, but one that I like to work with. This is the statue of 1,000 arms and 11 heads. So the story is Buddha felt to offer the Bodhisattva of compassion more arms to help people. And I've been aware of Seattle's statue, and I often have seen it. And I thought, well, okay, it's got a hammer, it's got a spatula, one arm has a spatula, one hand has a mixing spoon, one hand has a saw. But looking at these pictures, kind of up close, they have those things, but they also have vajras and Buddhist wheels and priests, nyorais. So it's like 1,000 gifts from Dharma represented. I just came to me in this trip, and let's look at this room. Could we imagine this room as 1,000-arm Kanon? Suzuki Roshi's in one arm, the altars in one arm, Bodhidharma's in one arm, Kanon statues, one arm, Shinko, Kwong-roshi, Goten, different arms of offering. Or my trip to the airport. The lady that helped this doddering senior figure out how to get a luggage tag, and the lady that was really concerned because she had like 30 people waiting for wheelchairs, And one man even, like Token does a lot for me here, even held my chair. And yeah, and as we went through the panoply of the gates and the colors and the signs and the people, and I was even in a robot wheelchair. At one point they put me in because they knew where to go. It's going beep, beep, beep. It's just like chanting me along. So now I'm delighted to practice with seeing the space I'm in, like the thousand-armed statue of Avalokiteshvara with the 11 heads. So it is officially 11:38, but I told you I liked poetry, so I've just picked one out to conclude with. Is anybody familiar with the work of Alice Notley? Alice Notley, Notley. Alice Notley is a prolific poet, well published, and also a Buddhist. And she's written a book that I was lucky to have called Culture of One, a collection of poems. And let's find Culture of One here. It's a story. The poems kind of go one by one telling a story. And the story centers around a woman who's homeless, who lives in the Southwest, but who meets and has different visions of people that help her. And so she has this vision of becoming the thousand-armed Avalokiteshvara. This poem's called Then I Became Mercy. Then I became Mercy with her 1,000 arms. They were all I was. All over my front and from my back. I had no hidden thoughts. No time, it seemed, for the secret. The arms were the space of me. What was my face? I tried for a delicate Korean aspect at first, but I might as well be the cloud. Am I the cloud? I'm still not sure. Having the arms, one scarcely sees what one does with them. Obviously, one cannot choose who one's merciful to. One doesn't even see them. It's all arms, arms, arms. I think it works by my simply having the arms. They are what you need. When you touch one, it's done. You've obtained mercy, which is what? Cessation of your suffering for a time. How do I have this ability? All I can say is that I accepted the arms themselves. It's contained in the leap from not having the arms to having them. Once you have them, that's it.